Hey folks, my name is Pravus and welcome to Breachway. This is a new roguelike that entered into early access just a few weeks ago. And the best way I can describe this game is it feels like a combination between FTL and Slay the Spire, which is a pretty interesting idea in and of itself. Now I will say I don't think that this game currently has as much depth as either of those games, but given that this is early access, it is something to keep your eye on. Let's go ahead and start up a new run and I will show you what I mean. Now in this version of the game, there are 4 different ships that you can choose from, 2 of which are currently locked for me, but every different ship is going to have different subsystems available, and this is important because this decides what your starting deck is going to look like since every subsystem has their own cards. I'm going to try playing with the Arbalist. This is a pretty standard ship, and off we go. Now welcome to the sector map. This will look pretty familiar to any of you guys who are used to playing games like FTL and so on. Normally your goal is to follow along these paths and try to get to an end boss before you then move on to the next sector. So we would follow any of these blue hyperlanes like so, though we can take a few different branching paths off the beaten path along here, so keep that in mind. But unfortunately we do have a limited amount of fuel for every single jump, so we're gonna have to be very careful to not expend this needlessly pursuing every single combat on the map. It's kind of take as many encounters as you feel like you reasonably can while still getting to your end goal. I should also point out that there are 4 different factions in this game, a couple of which really do not like me, and some of which are actually pretty happy with me. For now, let's go ahead and move on into this blockade, and we'll see what happens first. Looks like there are some blockades trying to prevent civilians from fleeing the system, but someone's coming to intercept me. And this leads into the first round of combat. Now this is where the game starts looking a lot more like Slay the Spire, because unlike FTL, we're not going to have real-time weapon charging, targeting different rooms, and so on. Instead, this is turn-based deck combat. So you can see my hand down over here, and every one of these cards is going to have an energy cost associated with them, but there are multiple kinds of energy in this game. If you look over here, you can see we have red, green, and blue, which is ordnance energy and mass energy. As this starts building up, we can stockpile any of these resources to spend on a lot of these cards, some of which take more than one resource in order to play. And balancing out which resource you are generating per turn based on what you think is left in your deck is actually a very important part of this game, though for this first fight, I'm not too worried about it. Over on the right, we can see our enemy telegraphing their attacks. They have a beam sweep and a barrier that they are planning on using, though notice the little horizontal pips onto these cards, which I can't hover my mouse over without pulling up the card. That's frustrating. But they gain 1 pip per turn, so next turn it's going to do a beam sweep, and then the turn after that, it's going to do a barrier. So right now, we are kind of going to get to do some free damage. I'm going to go ahead and play Target Lock first, which increases my damage, and it keeps up as long as we play 1 attack every turn. So we'll do this. I'm going to play a Laser Pulse. Now, some weapons are going to attack the enemy hull, and then that's it. They just hit as hard as they can, nothing else to it. Other weapons are precision weapons, and we can target specific subsystems. So we can see, for example, that this Beam Sweep has a defensive value of 10 to it right now. If I were to use a Laser Pulse, which is a precision weapon, we can apply 5 damage specifically to this system. If we can do that again next turn, we can actually remove this from the fight for a while. It'll take them 3 turns to repair it. So with precision weapons, your goal is basically to knock out whatever you think is going to be the biggest hindrance to you winning the fight. Though we are also doing some hull damage to our opponent at the same time. Let's go ahead and end this turn. They're going to do nothing but gain a little progress. We're going to do another Laser Pulse and just hit this thing like so. Boom, knocked out. Now they're going to do no damage to me, at least for the next 3 turns. Now, I'm not in a big rush right now, so we're just going to go ahead and end this turn. I'll spend my Laser Pulse next time. Actually, we could do a Catalyst Pulse right now, which would mean we can do a lot of extra damage. We could probably finish this target off right now. Let's go ahead and hit the barrier like so, and then follow that up with a boosted laser for 6 damage, and this target is going to be dead. All right, nice, easy combat for us. We're going to gain some credits, which we can use to either buy things from stations or upgrade the reactor on our ship, and we're also going to get to add some cards. We have a Repeater Pulse available. Return a laser card from cooldown to your hand. Okay. We could also get a better barrier for spending a bit more mass. We could get some equivalents. Gain mass for every 2 energy we spend this turn. Could be useful. Or a PDC burst in case a missile is on the way. I think this is actually really important to pick up, because if you get against an enemy who has lots of missiles and you have no way of defending yourself against that, it can get you killed pretty quick. Never underestimate the value of having some defensive cards in this game. But with that in mind, we now get to move on to this sector gateway. And from here, it looks like we are not going to be chased, but we are going to get contacted by a data broker who has a special mission for me. Defeat 2 elites, and he will give me some extra money, which is pretty nice. And while we're at it, we get a free other weapon. We could go for a missile rack, we could go for some more lasers, or we could go for an ion cannon. Kind of like the idea of going for the ion cannon. I think that's going to make it a little bit easier to burn through enemy defenses so we can get lots of precision damage in. Plus, something like this ion spear means that if we break their shields, we disable target equipment for 2 turns, which could be pretty substantial. Yeah, I think we're going to take the ion cannon this time around and see if it's any good. So we can see over here now, with this system installed, these are the 2 new cards that will be added into my deck. Now, what I probably want to do is actually spend some of my money to upgrade my reactor immediately, which we will do, and then I'll assign that to energy, I think, because it looks like with these new cards here, we're going to use a lot more green energy than we have before, so we should make sure we get plenty of that generating. All right, so the question is, where do we go now? Well, it looks like if we want to fight against an elite, we're probably going to have to fight against one of my allies no matter what, which is not great. I believe that reputation does carry over, at least partially, between runs. I might be wrong on that, but I think that is the case. I guess we'll go ahead and move into this conflict zone. Generally speaking, taking as many fights as you can in the early game is a good idea. That's where you're going to get more cards, that's where you're going to get more money. And lots of cards is not necessarily a bad thing in this game because every card you can see here does have a cooldown. So this Laser Pulse, for example, has a 3-turn cooldown. That basically means that, yes, you discard the card, but then you can't even put it back into your draw pile for at least another 3 turns. So that's always something to keep in mind. A card might be very, very good, but if the cooldown is long, you're not going to get very many opportunities to draw it in the first place. Now, I'm going to hold on to this Ion Spear over here because I want to use that when this character does bring up their charge barrier and knock this sucker out. I do want to get rid of this opening shot. I don't quite have enough energy for that yet. In fact, we definitely do not. All right, so there's nothing I can do there. We're going to take some damage. Let's go ahead and use a barrier to put up a shield. Now, shields do persist in between turns, but they degrade as well. So if we put the shield up and then we don't get attacked, well, the 6 shield value goes down to, I don't know, it's like 3 or 4 or something like that. So usually you want to play this right before you get shot at in order to get the most possible value. Now that I think about it, though, there was a different way I could play this. You see, there is one more mechanic I haven't explained to you guys yet, and that is your crew. In the bottom right, we can actually see all the different crew members who are currently manning their stations. We are generating a resource called command points every individual battle in this game. Not turn, every battle. So what happens is you spend some of these points in order to get some sort of a special effect from one of your crew members. For example, next attack would do 50% more damage, or just gain 4 shield points, or 2 of every resource, right? These are things we could have done. If I had been willing to spend my command points, we actually instead could have, let's say, boosted this by 50%, done 6 damage with the laser pulse, and then 4 damage with the catalyst pulse, and just knocked out the opening shot entirely. And I might save that for a future shot. For now, let's just go ahead and do a little bit of damage and then end our turn and let the energy start to build up. We're going to take no damage, nothing to worry about. Looks like they are able to keep firing this thing off, which is a little bit annoying. Okay, so you know what? Tell you what, this is where we're going to go ahead and do this. Let's go ahead and say we want to do 50% more damage because I've only got 1 attack in me. Another laser pulse. Boom. Say goodbye to your opening shot. Now I'm not even worried about you. Gonna end our turn once again. Always take it slow. You're not necessarily in a rush here. It's okay to stockpile lots of energy and lots of cards. It's also okay to discard cards if they're not going to get used anytime soon because you don't usually want to hold on to too many cards in your deck. Pass again. They're going to use the shield. I just want to see how this Ion Spear is going to work. So now we're going to go ahead. Actually, first, before we do that, let's go ahead and use the target lock since this counts as an attack. Now we're going to use the Ion Spear and knock out the charge barrier. That disables the shields for at least 2 more turns. They are completely and totally defenseless. Good. I will play the Catalyst Pulse then and just enjoy some free damage. And let's see if our cooldowns have burned off. They have, so we actually can go for 2 laser pulses, and as long as we have the lock on, we can actually finish off this target completely right now. That was a perfectly equal fight. More money for me. Another card. What do we want? A quick pulse. 2 energy for 3 damage is maybe okay. Also reduces the cooldown for the next attack played this turn. Not bad, I suppose. Still a precision weapon. Ion Javelin, deal double damage if you are unshielded. This is actually a very cheap way of doing up to 12 ion damage. Not half bad. Alternatively, we could go for Rampart, and this is good because not only does this give me 10 shields, it also means that shield does not cut in half next turn, so we can play this whenever we have some energy, and we'll have the shields persist for a bit longer. Not bad for some early defense. I think I'm going to take the Ion Javelin, though. This could be really, really good for me. Not only can it knock out enemy shields, but even if it doesn't have enemy shields and we're attacking the hull, we start removing pips from the enemy actions. So this actually might buy me some time to kind of mess with their pattern. I guess we will go ahead and move up to this next conflict, like so. Another Starkin gunship is coming in to attack me. All right, so far lots of conflict. There are other randomized events and contacts that we can make as we play this game, so don't think that it's all fighting, but fighting in general is pretty darn good. We'll do a quick target lock, and I guess I could do myself a laser pulse. What do I want to hit? I guess we can just go ahead and hit their laser as well, start burning this down bit by bit. But we could also go for another 50% damage, and I will, so we can do 7 damage, and that sets me up next turn to easily take this down before we get hit. Okay? Remember, you can always play basically one of these special abilities per turn. You get 3 morale, I believe, per turn, or command points, I should say, and it costs 3. So once you're close to the cap, like, there's not really any reason not to go ahead and spend one of these, especially if it's going to save you some hull damage. Let's go ahead and use the Catalyst Pulse. This knocks out their Pulse Laser. They're going to have a Rampart. I've got an Ion Spear to deal with that anyway, so I'm really not worried about it. And we'll just play it slow and steady. I need to make sure that we have enough weapons that we can keep the target lock up and a-running. I don't feel like losing that. So your Rampart's about to hit. We could preemptively do at least a little bit of damage, and I suppose that's fine. Boom. Gonna end turn here. They're gonna use the Rampart. No big deal. I'll use the Ion Sphere. Ooh, wait a minute. No, hang on. I just realized if they've got 10 shields, this only does 9 Ion. It won't break the shield. Okay, so what we need to do then is actually, let's use an Ion Javelin first to go ahead and reduce this, and then we'll use the Ion Sphere and hit you like so. Actually, wait. What did I miss here? Because for some reason, that actually seems to have completely knocked down the shield. Oh no, the Ion Javelin does double damage if I'm unshielded. Oh, whoops. Okay, well, that was one way of dealing with it. Okay, not exactly what I was intending, but that's completely fine. Let's just go ahead and finish this target off with a couple quick laser pulses, and boom. Let's add on another card, and what are we going to get after that? Some salvage, it looked like. More Ion Javelins. These are honestly really quite good. We could use this to really mess with my opponents as long as I've got enough green energy being produced. An auto shield could be good for me. Optimization or another PDC burst. I kind of like the idea of having a lot of these because we can just basically prevent my enemy from doing much. Yeah, let's do that. Another Ion Javelin. I'm going to try it. We also get the salvage over here, which we can add into our cargo bay. Basically, that's just like trash loot that we can sell when we get to a store, if we get ourselves to a store. I'm going to head over this direction so I can make my way towards some elites. Okay, looks like we have found a merchant ship. They are reluctant to reach out to us. We could inquire about their equipment or ignore them. I will simply ask what they've got. Browsing is for clients who can afford my stock. Apparently I don't have enough money, so he's like, you're poor, go away. That's just rude. Well, I guess we'll go to a system. What's this? Actually, hang on. There's an escape pod. Ooh, wait a minute. I'm going to take a quick little detour over here. That spends my fuel because I got off of the main path. But we could open up a cargo pod and get a new crew member. Now, this guy apparently is a gunner. Quick reflexes is his skill. This turn, add a star flare to your draw pile after every missile is launched. He's great if we had missiles, but obviously we don't. So what I could do instead is move you up to, let's say, here with our breach loading on the ion cannon. We don't get quite the same level of benefit, but he might get me some extra card slots on combat start, so let's just try it. Anyway, once we spend the energy getting off the beaten path, I don't think it costs me anything to get back onto the path like so. So that was totally worth 1 fuel. Now let's see, a Deadweight captain wants me to do something. These guys are basically the pirates. We could reduce relations with them, but let's patch him through and see what he wants. Would you like to earn some money? We want to install a transponder on a solitary patrol vessel up ahead. Okay, I accept this mission, which means we are about to get attacked. We could prepare for combat and fulfill this, or we could warn the Starkin of the pirate plan. Would this get me more reputation? Or would I rather just go ahead and fight so I can get myself the money and the card? I guess I'd rather just fight. As long as this is a halfway decent fight for me, it's okay. So you have an ion dart, you have a laser pulse which can fire very, very rapidly, and you have a rampart over here. Okay. Well, I guess I'll go ahead and play the target lock here first. Firing off an ion javelin would mean that I do 14 ion damage. That's at least 2 pips removed. Hopefully it knocks out your laser pulse. It did indeed, so you do not get to attack me this turn after all. Sucks to be you. And I'm going to hold on to my cards and energy this next turn. Let's see what we're going to do. So this ion dart doesn't really worry me by itself. The ion pulse is what bothers me, and I got no shields at all. Okay. So what we could do then is knock this thing out by, let's say, getting 2 of every resource. What does this guy do? Oh, that's his special ability. Right. So let's get 2 of every resource. That's going to give me the energy I need to fire off a bunch of different pulses. So we'll go 1, 2, and then 3. So they're not going to be attacking me with that for a while. I only have ion to worry about. Okay, end turn. And that wasn't even enough to ionize me, so that's fine. We can actually go ahead and get rid of these barriers. I'm not going to use those for a little bit. I'm going to fire off another ion javelin like so. Just go ahead and knock out more pips and slow him down. We're just going to stockpile some energy for a little bit. I don't have nearly enough attacks right now. My cooldowns are a little bit too bad for me. We could do a pretty much free combined arms and actually draw an attack card right now. Okay, that actually seems reasonable enough. Let's go ahead and deal some more ion damage. Just knocked off a pip from his shield. Okay. And we just got a bunch of ion javelins. Gosh dang it, that's not useful. Just going to take it slow, take a little bit longer. It's not a big deal. He's going to start building up his laser pulse again. This PDC burst does nothing for me, thank you. I just need to get my laser bursts back. That's what I really care about more than anything. There they are. Okay, so from here we should be able to do a catalyst pulse, followed by a couple more laser pulses, and this thing once again gets knocked out, and he's very close to death, which we can then finish off with one more pulse like so. Okay, easy enough. Not too bad. We played that slow. We didn't get punished for it. More money and more cards. Blinding pulse? Next attack from them does less damage. Situationally, not bad. Yeah, I think that might be worth having. We're a little bit low on attacks right now anyway. Okay, so we get more deadweight relations, plus we get some extra cash. With that extra cash, we could consider going for another reactor upgrade, which I don't think is a bad plan. Yeah, let's go ahead and do another reactor upgrade, put that into ordnance. We'll have to spend a lot of extra money in order to start boosting up the capacity of how much energy they can generate, though. So 4 per turn is the most I can do unless I'm willing to really pay for it. Still, hopefully you guys are getting kind of an idea for how this game works, because this is pretty much the gameplay loop. Finally getting some events here, by the way, that aren't combat-based. Okay. Contacting unverified gunships is not standard protocol, but I'm hoping you may be of service. A pirate vessel has been pillaging shipping lanes in the vicinity. These Solari really don't like me, but they want to contract me. I don't really have an objection to opportunities to get more money, so sure, we'll do it. They're over here. That's actually kind of not even far off the path I want to go. Heck, I could even start heading towards some space stations and try to get some extra bonuses. Doesn't seem bad. Let's go ahead and bump into some elite combat here. Now, if we attack this, we lose relations, which is terrible. But I need to get these elite ships, right? So it is what it is. All right, this guy should actually be a lot tougher to deal with. He's got a couple of different things. One, he's got missiles. This is where the PDC burst comes into play. He's got flak, which can shred through me. And the more stacks of shredding we have, the more damage we take from things like flak. He's also got a hacking system, which can basically take up one of my card slots unless I spend some energy to get rid of it. That's annoying. I also have no shields. Well, ain't that special. Obviously, we're going to start with a target lock. The question is, what do we do after that? We could go for the blinding pulse, or we could go for an ion sphere and try to disable something, which I think I will do. What do I want to maybe knock out? One of his attacks or the hacking here? It doesn't matter, actually, now that I think about it, because we're just going to get ionized and knock out a random pip. Looks like it did knock out the flak barrage. Okay, that saves me a little bit of trouble. I'm going to start doing damage to that flak barrage because I want this thing to go away. And actually, I should have done conservation. I assume I can't get this after the fact, so we're going to hold on to that card and do nothing with it. Moving on. It's going to launch that missile. So in one turn, the missile is going to hit me. Oh, but his hack just got rid of my PDC burst. I was going to survive that. Now I can't. Well, that's irritating. Thank you. Okay, how do we want to handle this? Let's do conservation. I think I'm going to go ahead and get 2 of every resource since we have plenty of command points. This means that I can get a blinding pulse and knock out one of your systems, like so. Plus, we could do a laser pulse on, let's say, start hitting your... What is Dissipate going to do? This is going to make my shields do less. But if he keeps launching missiles after me non-stop, this is going to be a problem. Let's try to knock out things like his... try to knock out his missiles if we can. I'm going to spend a barrier like so, and we have enough energy to go ahead and get rid of the system disruption, so we will. I think we are protected against this next fight, but I have no cards left and very little energy. So that's going to get very annoying very quickly. We can now do some ion javelins, though, since I have no shields, and this should really mess him up. So do we want to do that, or would I rather do something else? Catalyst pulse, more pulse lasers, blah, blah, blah. I want to do the barrier, probably. Or we could just use this special ability and then save the energy. I'm just going to use a barrier, and I'm going to use a laser pulse and just start slowly burning this down. We can save the ion javelins when we need to, and it's going to do a lot of damage to them. My security against hacks are really weak now, by the way. That is fine, though. He wants to use a volley and fire off 3 Firefly missiles, which would be very difficult for me to deal with. But fortunately, with things like my laser pulse, we can deal with him. So we'll knock this out, doing 5 damage there. And then I could do a laser pulse and do a bunch of damage like this. 6 damage there seems reasonable. I'm out of green energy, so I have nothing else I can do, but that's fine, because it's going to take him 1 more turn to do anything there. Same with the flak barrage. If I do my ion javelins now, let's see what kind of damage we're able to do to you. If I do that, I lose my shield opportunity. This is a bit of a risk. If I do this, we can do 2 ion... We should be able to knock out his flak barrage, right? Okay, I say that, and that didn't happen. Try it again? Okay, that also didn't happen. Crap. Right, okay. Just go ahead and hit him there. We're going to take some flak damage now. I've got 1 shield. Tell you what, let's use another round to just go ahead and boost that up to 5. He could do some damage to me. He did not. He did exactly 5 damage. Well, thank you kindly, sir. So tell you what, I'm going to do Conservation again. A Blinding Pulse to start hitting this. That leads me to Combined Arms. I can do some ion damage, draw an attack. That was not necessarily what I needed it to be. Okay, so now we're actually going to take some damage. I was really hoping that Ionize was actually going to knock out the flak. 2 damage, though. That's about as good as we could possibly have hoped for. And now he has to spend a whole turn reloading. But we can just go ahead and end his life right here. As far as an elite fight goes, that was fine. Not so bad. Lots of cash. Another good card. Couple of options, actually. Ooh, Booster Pulse. Deal damage, and laser cards cost less this turn. If you've got a lot of red energy, this could pay off beautifully. Alternatively, a really cheap, quick shield option. Charged Barrier again, PDC Repeater, more Conservation, Blueprints, draw 2 support cards. All support cards cost less blue energy this turn. I think I'll take the Booster Pulse. It seems pretty decent. We also got Alpha Strike as a new subsystem. Well, no, not subsystem. More like artifact. Something we can use for upgrades. It can be used on any laser, flak, ion, missile rack, or railgun weapon. Your first attack with this weapon doesn't cost any resources at all. Well, that is beautiful. What is my most expensive round of weapons? Probably the Pulse Laser. So we're going to go ahead and add this here. Now, we could instead sell the Alpha Strike when we get to a store, and that still, I think, is an option. But for right now, this seems like a good deal. So let's move on to an allied waypoint like so. Sensors have picked up activity in the area. A ship has been attacked and boarded. Okay, nothing we can do. Found another elite. Unfortunately, once again, an ally. That's annoying. Let's get down to trade security over here. We should be able to rendezvous with the civilian cargo ship and find the pirates. We could send them a warning to stay away because we're neutral with them, or I could attack. I think that I am willing to attack this ship, so let's go ahead and do it. We have an advantage because we caught them by surprise. So the first attack this turn is going to do 3 extra damage. That is excellent. 7 damage on Booster Pulse for free right off the bat. Does not seem bad. Let's knock out that flak barrage quickly. I'll do a Blinding Pulse like so his next attack will end up being weak whenever that happens. And then we might as well spend as much energy as I can this turn, right? Yeah, I think so, because we get it for cheap right now, so let's just go ahead and hit the Laser Pulse a couple of times, really laying on that damage thick. That is a great Alpha Strike for me, thank you. So 1 more damage right here, knocks out his weapon system, so he is helpless for at least a little bit longer, and the next Laser Pulse, for whatever reason, is free. Well, who doesn't like free, am I right? Move on to the next turn. He wants to leech defenses and steal my shields. I have no shields, so joke's on you. That will do you absolutely no good. We'll use the target lock, and I need to do an Iron Javelin just to keep that online, so that removes some pulse. I'm going to get rid of the Conservation and the PDC Burst, and probably the Combined Arms as well. I need to draw some more of my attack cards. Everything's on cooldown because we fired off everything too quickly. 7 damage. I can actually boost this up and kill him right now, and I will. Let's go ahead and overload the cannons and just finish him off like so. Again, we were at our cap for our command points. It's wasted resources not to. Am I right? What do we want for our next card? We're full on cards for a lot of these subsystems, so this leaves things like Surge, Blueprint, PDC Burst. I'm going to pick up the Surge for just a cheap shield, just in case we have a small thing we need to block. Incoming transmission, thank you, give me money. I like money. Now we need to go to the Allied space station over here, which spends a lot of my fuel. But let's dock with them and see what we can get. They give me a little bit of repair. We can buy some fuel now, which I should definitely do. I'm pretty sure it's free to head back this direction. So I only need a couple of fuel, really. What other crew activities and stuff is there? We could get some extra morale. This is one of the things that's always great about going to any of these stations. You can pretty much always do that. Ship equipment and maintenance. Remove a card, add a card, uninstall the AI core member, get the core card. I don't know what the core item is, but I know that the crew member here doesn't do me much good. Let's come back to that. What about in the hangar? Do you have anything for sale that will make a big difference? Well, we can certainly sell off the salvage, so I'll do that. And then you've got a res bay for reactor boost. What does this do? +1 reactor power. Upkeep, ship is not overheated on turn end. There's also another PDC array, a shield fortifier. So gain shield +1 for every fortify card played. So it just gets better and better over time. Or a maintenance bay to repair HP and remove some charges and so on. Huh. I don't know if I really need any of these, if I'm honest. They're not bad, though. Let's see if any of these other modifiers would help me here. Every ionized delay removes 1 security from the enemy. Great if I were a hacker, but I am not. Gain 2 of every resource if you play a tactical support and attack card in the same turn. I don't have very many support cards, so I'm not sure that I can actually use this. Contingency module, gain shields if you have an empty hand. And then Alpha Strike, again. We do like that. The only thing I really can get is either this Res Bay Mark 1B for the reactor boost or a maintenance bay. I'm just going to take another Alpha Strike, actually. I think that's probably fine. 140 may be a little expensive, but it's okay. Do we want to put that on the ion cannon, or can we put it again on the pulse laser? Can we do this twice? I don't know. Maybe this, it just says first attack with this weapon. You can't make it any more free than it already is. Let's just do this on the ion cannon. You never know. And then, yes, I do want to buy probably all 3 fuel. So I'm completely broke now, but we're a little bit stronger. I think that's fine. So now we should be able to head back here. It costs me nothing in terms of fuel. Then we can go to the next elite combat. Do I hit this one and circle around this way, or do I go here and then try to get to another space station? Probably do this since I've got the fuel and fight them here. They have no hostile intents whatsoever. I have to, unfortunately, do a surprise attack on you to fulfill my mission, so this is what we're going to do. Start with 3 extra resources. First attack on the first turn deals extra damage, or less cooldown. I think probably extra resources is really, really good. I feel bad that we're attacking our ally. There's really no good reason to be doing that, but here we are. Let's do a target lock, and we got to do some laser pulses. I want to try to knock this ion javelin out. Let's do 50% more damage, hit you like so, and then we can do another laser pulse like so. That knocks that out. We'll do a barrier to protect against this laser pulse, discard the PDC burst, hold on to the conservation, because I didn't actually spend all my red energy this time around. We actually had some of it for free, so we're just going to ignore that. And end turn. Seems like a halfway decent starting fight, to be honest. Then we could do a booster pulse. Sure, we want to knock out probably your weapon here, right? So let's go ahead and hit your laser pulse like so. That makes everything a little bit cheaper, so we can do a lot of attacks now. Probably a catalyst pulse like so. And I can't do another blinding pulse. Oh, shoot. I should have done the conservation. I screwed up. Can we do this retroactively? No, we can't. All right, it has to be this turn. Fine, get me 2 of extra every resource. I screwed that up. My bad. Knock that out. Boom, done. Thank you, bye. I'm going to hold on to this ion javelin. I know he's got shields, but we can knock that out next turn. Not a very big deal. He's almost dead already, to be honest, which again I feel a little bit bad about. Not very bad, mind you, but a little bit. Let's do combined arms first, so this can draw another attack card, so we get the Catalyst Pulse back. His shields are out, which means, yep, he's dead. Let's just go ahead and finish him off. Catalyst Pulse, Laser Pulse, say goodbye, boom. Sorry, easiest elite fight of my life. Now for my last card here, Still don't have very many support cards just to get me extra energy, but so far we're doing okay. I'm going to take Grid Fire. If enemy missiles are incoming, take down up to 3 enemy missiles. You never know if we're going to go up against an opponent that is going to have multi-missile fires off, and then my PDC wouldn't be very good, so we'll try that. I don't really care much about this thermal mass for heat threshold. I don't really do much in the way of heat, so that's fine. And we get our 150 credits. Thank you kindly. Go ahead and get back onto the beaten path, fight some Deadweights. He does have missiles. Okay, so fireflies and stuff like that. He also has the hack. We know we don't like that one. We don't like that one at all. Let's just do a free ion javelin, or do we want to do this? No, we'll just do the javelin. It seems better. Does more damage, knocks out the hack. Okay, not bad. And I'll do combined arms to knock out his flak barrage. All right, so that's taken out. He's doing nothing this turn. So as far as damage, I guess we'll just kind of keep hitting the flak barrage and start planning on taking that out. So end turn, you do absolutely nothing, but you're kind of right back to where you were before, so it's not that great for me. We can do conservation now. How much energy do I think I'm going to spend? Not enough to really be that useful. I guess I might actually prefer just to go ahead and place a barrier down. We'll probably resist any attack this time around. I don't think I need Grid Fire, because he's only going to fire 1 Firefly missile, right? So I'll discard the Grid Fire so we can draw more stuff, and then we'll hold on for next turn and see how well this goes for me. All right, I only had 1 shield left. He did the hack. Ah, he got rid of the conservation. Well, that sucks. That was kind of the entire point, but all right, fine. Let's do a booster pulse, does 4 damage. Tell you what, no, we're going to boost that by 50%, knock out the flak barrage first. Then we can do what? Ion Javelin? I don't care if he uses the Firefly. I'm holding on to a PDC. So that's not really that big of a deal. Maybe I'd rather just get rid of the hack. Yeah, let's just go ahead and burn that off for the moment. Wait till next time. We don't have a lot in the way of green energy, which is proving to be a problem. But it's okay. So the PDC burst will destroy this missile. We've got enough energy to do that, but not much else. I want the target lock, but then I don't have any weapons to use it on. Let's do the PDC burst first. We know that we need that. Dissipate doesn't scare me very much. We could do a blinding pulse, but I kind of want to save that for next time with the target lock. So let's actually just end turn. We're only going to draw 1 card, which is not much. So that still sort of sucks. He's going to hit me again with that Firefly. This time I don't have any PDC. We're going to do a target lock. We could do the blinding pulse. And I probably should start hitting him somewhere. Let's say the Firefly for now. So now he can't even do very much damage. I can just hold on to this Surge, and he won't be able to hurt me. So, like, who really cares, right? Yeah, end turn. That seems fine. So the Firefly is off. That's fine, that's fine, that's fine. I'll block it with the Surge. I've got way too much red energy, but not enough green. You know what we can do? We can try to pull back on... Sorry, that's not what I want to do. Pull back on our red generation and move that to green instead. That seems better. Then I'll do a laser pulse again. We'll do an ion javelin, see if we can knock out... Okay, not what I wanted. I was hoping to hit the flak barrage. So we'll probably take damage unless I spend some points right now in order to make sure that I have more shields. So hit me with the flak. There we go. I take basically nothing. Okay. Now's a chance to do some very serious damage to this guy. Let's go for the booster pulse, hitting his Firefly, knock that out of the picture. Catalyst pulse, laser, knock out the hack. All right, he's down to only 4 HP. I think next turn we should be able to deal with him. He just had to waste a turn on a flak reload. Crap, I did not actually get a freaking attack weapon. Oh, God. All right, let's do combined arms. I did at least knock out the flak. There's my laser pulse. Die! All right, easy peasy. We get some more salvage. I always like finding more salvage. Let's add Rampart as a really strong shield in case that's useful, and we're done. Let's get lastly into this space station. We're going to dock it with the station one more time. Crew activities. We can't afford to do anything at the bar, so forget that. Ship maintenance. We could remove cards. I'm still not worried about that right now. Let's go ahead and enter the hangar and see if there's anything really useful here. Also, we can sell the salvage, which we will certainly do. And I don't care about this thermal mass, so let's get 60 credits that way. Got definitely a couple of nice-looking weapons here, but Mark II railgun. Pretty good if you have a lot of mass. I'm very bad at mass generation. Paint target. If you deal laser hull damage, apply tagged 30% missile damage. If I had a missile, that'd be great, but I don't. Ammo pod. For missiles. Weapon stabilizer. Okay, attacks from this weapon doing 1%, 1 extra damage is actually pretty great. Let's take the weapon stabilizer, and I'm going to apply that to my pulse laser like so. Then I'll probably just go ahead and buy a couple of fuel, and I think that's going to have to be good enough. Let's move on to the boss fight. A Deadweight captain says, turn back or I'll be forced to open fire. This is no place for privateers. Buckle up, we have a fight on our way out. Whoa, that is a big honkin' ship. All right, and now you can see they got 5 subsystems that we've got to worry about. The boss is no joke at all. All right, a booster pulse here is going to be great for me. We could do the target lock first, though. So let's do that. We've got a lot of attacks to start off. Lots of them. What do I want to do with this, though? What do I want to hit? I obviously don't like that flak barrage being there. I really don't like you having a missile. Retribution, draw and play an improvised flak card for every turn after receiving hull damage. Not good. Lighter rounds, max flak damage. So this flak cannon is going to be very instrumental to their success. So we need to knock this out. I'm going to do 50% more damage, hit you for 9 right off the bat. Follow that up with probably a... Let's do a Catalyst Pulse to hit you hard there. And then we can follow that up with a Laser Pulse to hit... Do we want to hit his Star Flare? Do we want to hit things like his shields? Let's just take out the Star Flare. I want to have less missiles to worry about. And that is a very strong Alpha Strike. Okay. So you do pretty much nothing this time around. We can now knock out your Star Flare, so that's no longer an issue. Now we have to worry about things like Retribution and all these extra flak damage boosts, though. This barrage is going to look very, very scary. If I did an Ion Javelin, this would remove 2 pips from something. We don't know what. No, let's go ahead and hit it now on the off chance we can knock out something that doesn't matter, like the Retribution. Okay, that actually is nice. That helps. I'm going to hold on to the combined arms so I can hit their shield and do a lot of extra damage that away. 12 shield. Ouch. Well, I'm still going to try it, or am I? Wait a minute. Is this a good idea, or is this a dumb idea? If I wait a turn, this is... Oh, no, he's going to hold on to the shield for a long time. So, no, we actually do want to attack, for sure. All right, let's do a combined arms first to weaken the shield, but not necessarily destroy it. All right, that's going to draw another card. Then we're going to do the Ion Spear, which is going to break it. And what do we want to shut down for 2 turns? Probably take out the Retribution. So I'm going to do Ion Spear to shut down and nullify that system for 2 more turns. Okay, and then I probably can hold on to this Laser Pulse for the moment. We've already used our target lock, right? I think I'd rather save that so we have a guaranteed attack next time around. Now he's got the extra damage. Barbed Shrapnel. Yeah, the flak is looking scarier as time goes on, for sure. All right, and we can't quite do enough damage to knock this out entirely, or can we? We can. It'd be better if I could get a little bit more damage. 7 damage on these would be perfect, but we don't have that as an option. So let's do a Blinding Pulse first. Then we're going to hit Pulse and Pulse. That knocks out the flak again for a bit longer. I've used all my red energy, but I wanted to do that before the Retribution has a chance to come back, because then he's going to start getting all sorts of extra attack cards against me, and that would be terrible. Now, this Star Flare doesn't scare me yet, so I'm not worried about that. I would love to knock out things like the shields, though, before it becomes a problem. I'm going to take 2 extra energy this turn. I could go for 50% more damage, which I'll do. Booster Pulse, hit the shield amplifier hard, and then we can do the Catalyst Pulse and knock you out. Boom. Okay. Could have done the Ion Javelin, but this at least removes this entirely for the moment. And move on to the next turn. He's only got 14 health. So far, this is looking really, really good. There's the Retribution I was scared of. All right. There's the improvised flak, too. Yeah, so now he's got a second weapon that can hit me pretty much every single turn. Let's do Conservation, followed by an Ion Javelin to start knocking something out. That didn't hit what I was hoping for. We'll do a Surge to get a little shield to protect me against this incoming missile, and then we're just going to do nothing. I just wanted to fire off something to keep my target lock online. Shield's looking good so far. Another missile coming in. I just need to do 14 damage, but I've got only ion weapons right now, which obviously is not going to do the job. Huh. Tell you what, let's use Rampart now since this does not decay. That way I've got it out of my hand. Discard the Ion Spear, hold on to the PDC bursts in case I want to use that to knock out the shield. We haven't done any hull damage, so his improvised flak isn't getting any charges yet. But it will soon, and I still don't have any more green energy with which to work, so a lot of my weapons are kind of out of the picture. In fact, I think now's a good time to go ahead and swap over here. So he's about to hit me. If we do the PDC burst, we can knock out the missile. And that's enough to guarantee we survive this hit. So that's fine. Do it. And then with all of this damage, what do we want to hit? If we do the Ion Javelin, we can't do the extra damage because I am shielded, so that's not a very good option. We lost the target lock. Oh, crap. All right, that's a big part of why we're going to have a problem here. 5. If I can hold out for one more attack, we can avoid the improvised flak entirely. So I'm actually going to do nothing this turn. I'm even going to discard a barrier. What else do we have as far as cooldown cards? Most things are on cooldown. I'm going to discard my other barrier and guarantee that I should draw one more decent attack because I think we can finish him off in one more volley, and we're not going to take any damage at all. In fact, that is exactly what's about to happen. We'll just go ahead and do a Catalyst Pulse because it's fun. Boom, Laser Pulse, goodbye. No damage. Perfect run for me. Oh, look at that, a Quad Flak Mark II. Beautiful. We also got an AI core. Okay, used to crew equipment even if you don't have a crew member. Not worried about it, gain a lot of money, add a card, High Alert, add a PDC burst card in each empty card slot. Huh, seems very expensive. I almost never have the blue energy for this. I'd rather take an Ordnance Surge, I believe, in case I need a burst of extra red energy. Easy enough! And this means I now get to move on to the sector exit. This is going to lead me to the EOS system because there was some encrypted data on that AI core. And you can see we have a whole new map to worry about. But I think this is a good place for us to end this video. So it's a pretty darn cool idea for a game. I do think that there is a lot to like here. The main criticism that I have heard for this game, though, is that this gameplay loop you are seeing here is pretty much repetitive. You're always going to be following the same storyline. A lot of the enemies are largely going to be the same. And the best cards, the best systems aren't necessarily going to be balanced. You tend to lean toward the same things every single run. But I do think that that's something that can easily change as this game continues to get development in early access. I think what this game is going to have to struggle with is, is it going to be taking the best of everything from FTL and Slay the Spire, and that comes together to create a game that is ultimately better than both? Or is it a game that's trying to do too much, and as a result, it ends up falling short of both? Either way, though, I think on a standalone level, this game is pretty fun. It looks great. It plays well. The mechanics are solid. As long as the balance is sensible and well done, I think this game could be quite fun to enjoy, especially as more ships get added into the game, more weapon systems, and so on. But that's going to do it for me. If you guys like what you saw about this video, I'll go ahead and include a Steam link in the description down below, and you can check this out for yourself. Otherwise, I would ask that you hit that like button, leave a comment, subscribe, hit that notify bell, and I will see you guys next time.